the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton, joined with Sergeant Walton. Clint, how are you?
I'm good.
You know, I remember one time, maybe 2 or 3 years into your career, and you're telling me a story about something that happened, and you're like, and I said, and then I stopped and I look at you, and I said, you said that? You don't talk like that. And your reaction to me was like so nonchalant, like yes, I do. And it got me thinking about how a lot of people might have a huge distinguishment between who they are at work and who they are at home. And for some people, this contradicts who they actually are. And I see a lot of the times where somebody might be highly capable and dependable and composed on the job, but then at home, they might become emotionally distant.
Yeah, I think we start putting on this facade at work, and we're showing up as this is who we are, and this is who we're representing ourselves to be. In all reality, that's not truly who you are, but the more you keep faking that dynamic for yourself, like you start believing it yourself.
You know, and I want you to picture something for a second, because this happens in a lot of first responder homes where, you know, for the most part, it could be the dynamic to where the husband is at work and then maybe the wife is at home, and maybe she works and maybe she doesn't, but she's at home building a home for her family. And she has already put up all of the Christmas decorations because you have worked, you know, the 6th overtime shift this month, and she didn't want to wait any longer. And she has just made cookies with the kids, and the kids are sitting there when you walk in and they're decorating those cookies, and she has dinner that they already ate, and she's cleaning up all of the dishes, and she tells you that yours is in that to-go container right there, and if you're hungry, you can eat it. And stepping into a situation like that, for some people, it might make them feel like they're not actually coming home, a little awkward, a little uncomfortable, or a little out of place. And I think that this happens more often than those individuals want to admit it.
Yeah, I think when you start feeling disassociated with your family because, you know, you're working so much, you're not home, you're not present with them all the time, no matter if it's you're trying to pay off extra bills, you're trying to, you know, buy those extra Christmas presents, whatever it may be, but you come home and you're like, oh, here's your meal to the side, and it's there. Instead of, it's all in how we, I think, look at things, because we could say, oh, well, they didn't wait for me. Well, it's 8-9 o'clock. The kids have to go to bed soon. Instead of like looking at it as, well, I think it was really nice of them to create that dinner and put it to the side for you, instead of saying, hey, yeah, there's food here, you can put something together. They still thought of you and are building that bridge.
Yeah, and you know, there's two sides to this, because that other person, they also might need to put in a little effort in order to be able to allow you to engage once you do get home. And an example of this is, for me, I don't have a lot of time when I'm not working. And so sometimes when Clint gets home, he'll come in and it'll sound like a concert inside of our house, because I'm like, man, I have 20 minutes. I really love this song. I want to play it on repeat for the next 7 or 8 times before Clint comes home. So you come in, and then I know that that is not something that you're comfortable with. So I instantly, if I didn't hear you, then when you do come in and I hear you and the dogs go crazy, then the first thing I do is to shut all of that off. And I make sure that I turn the environment into one that is something that you'll feel welcome coming into.
Yeah, I think it's important to be able to, like, it's for each of you to be able to have that kind of space to where you can have this excitement to have your 20-minute concert and listen to that same song, but then to be able to come home and just to be fully present and have those conversations with your spouse, with your kids, like, and just show up for them. Take, as in that scenario you talked about of they're decorating cookies, they finished dinner already. Sit down with them for 5-10 minutes, decorate the kitties, decorate the cookies with them, and just be present with them, because no one's going to hold your hand and say, hey, you should do this, because if you take that extra step forward and to spend that time with your family, they're going to feel like you want to be part of it.
I think that for a lot of people at work, they're super decisive, they're calm under pressure, and they're literally trusted with lives. But then at home, you might be exhausted or withdrawn or even unsure of how to re-engage. And in that kitty cookie situation, I think that it's really important to ask yourself the cost of going and taking a shower 5 minutes early is worth the cost of you actually sitting down with the kids and decorating the cookies for 5 minutes with them.
And I hear all these arguments rising in my head because I hear them all the time from my officers, my partners of, well, I'm dirty. I just had to touch all these nasty people. I don't want to bring that home. Well, in all reality, didn't you wash your hands? Like, are you really that dirty? Or is that just an excuse you're telling yourself to be able to stay within your routine and your habit?
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of is, because there have been very, very few times in your now long career to where you undressed literally in the garage before you came inside. And the only excuse or reason of that I could think of would be like fire, right? But I also know that a majority of those fire guys are taking a shower before they get into their vehicle, right? Because you probably don't want that stuff sitting in your vehicle either.
Yeah. And there's always instances where you're saying, hey, I need to actually take care of this. And ultimately, does it really matter if you take that 5 minutes and help your kids? Wash your hands again. Like, take that time to be with your spouse, to be with your kids, and just talk with them and be present with them instead of just going off in your own little world.
So there's something called context-dependent emotional suppression, and it's learned. It's the ability to shut down emotional expression in those really high stake environments. And some people might struggle to be able to turn it back on in the safe ones. And for first responders, this develops through things like your survival based emotional control. You need to have that when you're going on certain calls, repeated exposure to the trauma, performance expectations, your cultural reinforcement of stoicism, even from the people that you work with or even the public.
Yeah, being able to understand each of those and knowing like this is an image who you display on duty, and this is why we talk about it so often. It's you have this work persona and you have your at home persona, but your values and your integrity should always be aligned and be the same, to where you're not having to shift. Oh, this is who I'm at work and this is who I am at home.
Yeah, and I think there are so many ways to reconnect without losing your edge, so to speak. And one of them is, let's go back to the cookie situation, is to share your internal state and not the called details. So it could be something of like, Daddy, come decorate cookies with us. And you truly don't have, like, you know in your head that if I sit down and I decorate these cookies with my kids, that I'm going to be sitting here, but I'm not going to be present. That's okay. And that's very honest. And it could be something as simple as saying like, I'm really tense right now. I just need a few minutes. Let me go take that shower. And maybe that's your decompression state that you practice that, you need that. And then come back out and tell them like, okay, now Daddy's ready to decorate cookies. And then we're going to go to bed in 5 minutes. Okay, you guys?
Yeah. And it's creating those, not only those boundaries, but having that clear picture of being able to say, okay, this is your routine. This is who you are. And you can still be engaged without actually engaging in that moment, and being able to tell them, hey, well, save me some cookies because I want to come back. I want to be with you guys.
I think for a lot of people, it can be difficult to be super vulnerable, but I also think that you can try those micro moments of vulnerability, just small emotional risks that help to be able to rebuild that trust and that closeness, because it's not just for you, it's for your partner and your family too.
Yeah, having those emotional responses to things, because then it lets them feel and know that you still love and care about them in a different way, and that you're still truly present with them. Because when you start building up that barrier and you just come home and you're the stern man or the stern woman, whoever may be coming through that door, they're going to get it to where they're going to start creating a distance from you.
There's a TikTok trend that goes around, and it's this song, and it's talking about like, I'm a big dog, and it's always showing like a really big rough guy and out there in the world, and the wife or the girlfriend is taking a video of him and the way that he's looking at other people while they're out there in the world, and then it turns into this really sweet song, like the same song, but like more of a sweet tone. And then you see him like laying on her lap and like he's a little puppy instead of that big dog. And I'm sharing that because I think that a lot of the times we need to redefine strength as emotional flexibility, and that true strength actually includes the ability to soften safely.
Yeah, I think when you always put on this persona of who you are and what you think you need to represent, you're never able to really turn off that big dog perception. And it's in all reality, when you go behind closed doors, you are that soft, sweet, gentle, caring person, because inherently that's who we all are deep down.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below, and as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.